Explosion, special effect.
Yo, moin Freunde, alles gut bei euch? Willkommen zurück in der Nerd Crate und ich habe da wen mitgebracht. Erstmal muss ich wieder das Overlay rübersetzen, weil das leider in StreamYard alles von Hand ist. Heute mal wieder Crate Hangouts und heute habe ich hier im Programm Eamon O'Donoghue, der ein Designer ist und nicht nur ein Designer, sondern yeah, by the power of Grayskull. Da werden wir einiges drüber reden. Da kommen wir gleich zu. Er wird sich groß vorstellen und ich hoffe, ihr habt groß Bock drauf. Deswegen werde ich auch gar nicht großartig viel sagen. Heute das ganze Ding natürlich auf Englisch, aber ich wollte das mal eben kurz einmal einführen, damit ihr Bescheid wisst. Wenn ihr also kein Englisch könnt, tut mir das leid, aber das lässt sich leider nicht anders machen. Nichtsdestotrotz, wie immer, wie das hier so läuft, als erstes das Intro und dann steigen wir direkt ein. And here we are. Eamon, good evening to you.
Guten Tag!
Guten Tag. Everybody tries to do that. Most fail, but that was okay.
I go to Austria once a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I go snowboarding to Austria, to Meyerhofen, once a year. Except obviously this year.
Wow. So you can actually speak some German?
A bit.
Okay.
Kleine. Sorry, kleine.
Ein bisschen.
Ein bisschen.
Exactly. That's it. Very nice. Very nice. How are you, man? Good to have you here. Thanks so much.
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, that's just I'm doing great. It's a Sunday. It's a nice thing. We tried those scooter things today. The little little scooters everyone has. My partner,
right.
she finally got her driver's license or provincial license, so we've been scooting around the park and stuff like that. And we just and just this morning, then we watched for the second time the last episode of Revelation.
My man. Very good.
We are getting that on a Saturday morning. Come on, or Sunday morning.
You just have to, either that or Saturday morning. You just have to. Exactly. That is the traditional way to actually watch it, right?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
We're getting to that. But just as an introduction feature, why don't you tell the good people that are watching this channel who you are, what are you doing, in terms of your non-disclosure agreements, because you have, of course, running projects for certain producers. So, you know, which you can, whatever you can disclose or want to disclose.
I can tell you all the companies I'm working with. I just can't exactly tell you some of the things I am currently working on. But you know, it's
exactly.
I can tell you what stuff is coming out and things like that and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's see. What are I thinking? My bios is I'm an artist and illustrator and designer of all things cool. So if it's cool and it's fun, I tend to draw that. And that tends to be an all-encompassing thing. Basically, I illustrate and draw. Lately it's been mostly action figures and toy-based stuff, and it's both designing action figures and doing the action figure packaging and things like that. So, and then I'll do the odd movie poster here and there. I'll do some album sleeves. You know, things like that, like a normal illustrator would do. But I think the big pull is action figure designing and, you know, work for Masters of the Universe as an illustrator, because I haven't designed anything product for Masters. I've worked on a few statues for PCS, but I haven't designed any action figures outright for Masters of the Universe yet.
But that is also what I said to you before in our little pre-hangout, that you essentially you acquired the holy grail of all things nerd and all things that is cool. You collecting this, and you are also designing this sometimes, and also the packages, and you get to own this kind of in a double dip. You buy it, but then you also see your art on it. This is actually yours. I mean, this is how far that you can essentially come with being a nerd, being in the creative process of this.
Yeah, I mean, the next step would be something like movie production on TV shows and stuff like that, to actually work on like a production. That would be like the big step. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm extremely, extremely lucky to have the job that I have. It is brilliant. But I will say to people, I worked very hard to get to this position, like really hard. I humped a lot of legs. I offended a lot of people. You know, you know, it took me a long time to get here because I was quite proactive in how I saw it work. To preempt any questions from anybody coming in the chat saying like, how did you get to this position? You do work to get the work. If you want the job, do the job, send it to them and say, hey, this is what I would have done for you guys. Yeah, don't send it to any of the companies that I work with because I'll come after you.
Okay, remind me to never piss you off.
You're brave an Irishman calls for revenge.
But just for a quick time frame, I mean, that's also what I said before. Just for the people that are watching, we know each other pretty much since 2007. That's also what you said when you roughly joined the Sideshow Freaks forum. I believe they kind of maybe lost the license or the ability or the allowance to call themselves Sideshow Freaks because they revamped themselves to Collector Freaks.
I think that was something to do with the fact that on the Freaks they wanted to continue talking about like unlicensed figures, and for Sideshow that was problematic. So I can see that. That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I remember when I spoke to you first. I'm getting to the live chat shortly, guys. Sorry about that, but we're just deep in. You know, it's a hot topic. So I remember when I talked to you first and I asked you, and one of the things you said to me first, oh yeah, maybe if you're in your local hi-fi brick and mortar store over there and you're seeing some mask DVDs, the covers for those I actually drew. And I was like, I actually had those in my hand. So this was that kind of your first stepstone in this, or can you actually remember what you first did that actually had some, I don't know, some footing, to call it like that?
Well, it's pretty straightforward, really. For a good, I left college, obviously in whatever year that was, 1999, 98, 99. Mm-hmm. Went to work for a bunch of very boring companies, agencies in London, advertising agencies, doing stuff for yachts and cars and all this stuff. And then I ended up doing club flyers for raves. And lots of ravey type flyers, of course, one science fiction and fantasy art and things like that, you know, because, you know, wow, man, and all that. And so I started off doing that. But I decided to go freelance after doing that for about 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And the very first big freelance job I ever got was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on DVD in the UK. So I literally went off, I drew a cover, sent it off to the company, which at the time was Contender Entertainment, and they're gone now for years. And I literally did the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe DVD covers, and after I did the He-Man DVD covers, I got Dungeons and Dragons. After Dungeons and Dragons, it was Ulysses 31. After Ulysses 31, it was Mask. Then it was Transformers, and it just kind of snowballed in. And kind of since then, I've been kind of like an 80s go-to guy. Not necessarily by choice, but because I'm cool. I grew up with all this stuff, so I'm happy out.
Exactly.
You know, all my Saturday morning TV watching, where my old man used to kick me out and make me cut the lawn, all that stuff paid off. All my endless watching and not playing contact sports paid off. So, you know, because I like, oh, do you know anything about Dino Riders? Oh, yeah, I know Dino Riders. Do you know anything about Mask? Yeah, I know Mask. Transformers? Yeah, I know the Mask. I know lots of stuff about nothing. So, and it kind of just kicked off from there. And I was doing books. I constantly kept doing DVD stuff and kept on getting the odd kind of He-Man job here and there, and doing other fine art prints, things of this nature and stuff like that. But then it was about 4 years ago.
So all of that stuff was essentially a gap, like the door was slightly open and your foot was in there, and 4 or 5 years ago there was a real door opener?
It kind of opened up again. It broadened out again. So I was known for doing all these DVD covers and working specifically on some stuff for He-Man, you know, be it DVDs or the odd promotional thing for Mattel and things like that. I did some stuff for classics here and there and things like that. And some
classics too.
Yeah, I did like an advertising campaign when the toy line was supposedly ending, and I did this Game of Thrones style campaign where they had the houses of Randor and all these. I had Zor the Falcon with lots of swords and stuff on there. Yeah, I did stuff like that, and then I did a standee, the She-Ra 30th anniversary standee, which I believe was in 2016. Was it 2015? It might have been 2015, but I did a life-size She-Ra standee, and that kind of really opened the door for me again even more so. And yeah, so yeah, I've just been doing a lot of stuff, but I'd always like been interested in the action figure side of things.
Of course.
And as you know, then from the Sideshow Freak side, from the 1/6 side of things, I started getting more work on the 1/6 side of things.
You also had a podcast. That what I wanted to say is that.
Yeah, well, again, I had the Hot Toy cast, and then some people say podcasts are a waste of time. Well, this Hot Toy cast was a blessing in disguise because I managed to get Mez from Mezco onto my podcast, onto the Hot Toy cast, which is on iTunes. Well-regarded podcast. If you like 1/6, you'll love it. If you don't like 1/6, you will not like it. But it's me, so hey. And I basically started doing packaging design for things like Harry Potter 1/6 scale figures and Lord of the Rings 1/6 scale figures. So I started doing lots of packaging artwork, and then that led into statues. And then I started doing some statue design, like Massive Universe, like the PCS statue behind me here. I kind of worked on that one there. And Dave Wilkins.
I love the Skeletor one with the Snake Mountain base. Oh,
yeah, that's great work. Yeah, that's a couple of friends of mine worked on that one as well. Some old acquaintances and stuff like that. But yeah, and the kind of from the 1/6 stuff and then the kind of other 80 stuff, it kind of came together. But it wasn't until I kind of I had a Mezco on my podcast, on the Hot Toy cast, name dropping that again, that the action figure design work didn't really I'd done some design work for Hasbro. I'd done some work on Gem, Disney princesses, and kind of the more girl side of things. Yeah. And then I started getting work from Mezco off the back of the podcast. And the very, very, very first action, I'll get her for you. Where is she?
Oh, okay. Now it's getting interesting.
The very first action figure I ever designed was this one.
Oh, a Catwoman. Look at that.
Catwoman from Mezco. It's the very first action figure I ever designed. And we did two versions of it. This is obviously the purple version. There's a black version over there too. But I like this one because you can actually see the details I drew in and all that stuff.
That's interesting. You are actually the second of my friends, so to speak, that actually work for Mezco. A friend, due to my friend is called Chris Pinkerton. He actually has a little diorama company now. It's called Crashbox Customs. A lot of 3D stuff, and the bases and dioramas that you now see of Mezco on conventions is actually off of him. Like the Popeye Harbor base.
Oh wow, yeah, wicked. Oh really? That's I'm gonna have to get those contact names because that's just because I love knowing all people in the biz, man. I love knowing everyone. Like I want to know this Mezco a little bit more secretive than other companies. So for other companies I work for, I can talk to the sculptor and stuff like that. I can like talk to them and stuff like that. But Mezco a little bit more like to keep the downplay and stuff like that. But yeah, it's first figure there, so that's the one that started off.
I mean, Catwoman is also pretty much a cult classic and also a fan favorite. I mean, this is a big drop right from the get-go, right? I mean, you worked hard to get that, but essentially also like piggybacking from him having as a guest, and then this as a first contract. Yeah, that's great. It is great. It is great. It pays to be nice to people and to be cool and to to kind of, make, I don't know. It was just one of those things where I just think I learned a lot from. I was like, okay, well, if I do this, this, and this, because it's skill is one thing, but it's the ability to be able to like talk well to people as well. And being Irish, you do have the gift of the gab, so that kind of isn't bad. But I mean, you made it work. So I think as far as I can tell, you are not a horrible person. So I think this comes, as a natural, I would say. But if I can chime in real quick, let's just check out the chat real quick. If you want to check out the chat, you need to go into the stream on YouTube. You can sadly not do that as a guest, but I in StreamYard got this extra window here with the chat and everything. So do I get No, I don't. No, I have to pretty much still get all my figures. It depends. It depends on the a lot of companies don't actually send you the figures. Mattel were kind enough to send me a few of the Revelation stuff that I worked on. Diamond are very good to me. They send me figures. Other companies don't. They might give you a discount and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, well, I prefer the work than the figures. But because you can, it's. But generally, yeah, it depends. Sometimes you'll get the free figure. Sometimes you won't. Okay, cool. But we have a few people in the chat. We have my good friend Cantino of Transformers. We have Happy Domi. Hank0592, what's good, dude? Neighbor from the Netherlands. We have Kato. We have Michael Hagener. Alexander, yes, sir. Hi, guys. Nice, kind to close the weekend with a chat about MOTU. Not only, but probably a big portion. That has to be an amazing feeling from design to physical product, seeing your idea coming to fruition. Oh, I believe so. This is probably one of the best parts, I believe.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. Although I will say I am currently... design is a funny word. Because it's kind of like, it insinuates I designed, like if I've done like stuff for the Avengers movies. While I designed the figure, I didn't design the actual look of the character. For Mezco, you have to make up something new. So yes, there is designing involved in that. But right now, I've just literally put to bed 100% uniquely designed figures by me. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see those this time next year. I can't tell you what they are, but I'm super excited for them. And I cannot wait because they're 100% my own creations. And that's
that is super cool.
Work for other people, you know, they have their own vision, they have their own set thingies, and that's that.
Hey, see, that is a great topic that you come up with your own design, because I remember you were also trying to get your own movie idea going. You had a little. Okay, so it didn't get to any fruition, sadly.
No, it's a slow burn on that one. It's like do something like that, to do something like that, you have to do it well and not half-ass it, to be honest. So I have to, while I have a good pitch made, I need to have basically a full synopsis of the full story, which I'm just literally polishing off now and hopefully should be soon. But it's called The Gatekeeper. You can go on to, you can find it on link to my own things. It's just called The Gatekeeper. It's a comic book movie pitch. You'll find it on Facebook, but the subtitle is From Dust to the Beyond, but that subtitle is gone now. But yeah, it's a movie pitch. I've got artwork and graphics. It's very different illustration style to my master stuff, and it's all kind of more CGI type stuff. But yeah, it's I'm working on it, but if I'm going to pitch it, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to half-arse it, which is why I'm taking my time with it to get it right.
But this is also what the first sentence from you essentially wanted. It said, if you want to do this thing, you have to put in the work. You have to sit down and you just do it and not half-assing it. That's essentially what...
I have a 13-page fully illustrated graphic novel ready to go that I haven't made public just yet. So I have actually that ready to go, kind of a thing. But I want to wait short to have the story synopsis and get that out there and do it right, you know.
Okay, so let me be clear. You are saying you are working hard and relentlessly on it, but you know, a normal mortal human being has 24 hours. How much does Eamon O'Donoghue have?
Well, therein lies the problem as well, isn't it? There's never enough time. You know, I think most artists would agree that having the Bill and Ted situation where they go back in time, learn all these great skills, come back literally within the same minute and have all the dopest skills in the world, that would suit me just fine. That would be great. But yeah, it is a lot of time. I mean, I've got my partner as well, so we kind of have to kind of make sure we have a life as well, kind of a thing. But yeah, I do work most weekends, but I'm not like pulling the midnight oil or anything like that. I do try to get my work in and things like that, but I do have a life as well, a bit.
Okay, so you're also you're making sure you're having downtime and not working relentlessly, and then until the tank is essentially dry and the machine is only running on fumes. You are actually we need some. Okay,
it obviously depends on the job, but sometimes they're just honestly you can just get burnout and you just don't think. If it's something you have to really conceive of something new, you're honestly better off stepping away because you could make a mess of it. So sometimes it's better just to go for a ride of a bike or go for a walk in a park and clear your head and kind of get things done better.
Of course. I want to address two short things in the chat real quick. Number one, my friend from Mexico, a German who lives in Mexico. Congrats for having such a fantastic guy. Guest on show. Thank you very much. Thanks for Eamon, of course, for being able and wanting to do that as a first. And second, Hyper Nerds, will you push the video on your YouTube channel? Dude, everything that is running on here is the streamers automatically on YouTube. You can watch that at your own convenience. No problem whatsoever.
So Sunday, everybody. Everyone's having their Sunday dinner now.
Right? I mean, some people can tune in, some people don't. I mean, live is always better. That's also what a friend of mine actually says. My partner in crime for the collectors, he always says, I like that you're doing your live stuff, but once it's not live anymore, the live appeal is kind of lost. Yeah, well, bummer, but I mean, it is what it is. This is way less time consuming than doing, I don't know, a 3 to 4 hour review with editing and everything. This is just an hour. And you can chat, you're having a WeChat, a nice chat, and then you're essentially off, and everybody that wants to watch can do so.
All right.
So, right. So a question I wanted to say regarding the NDA and everything, which companies are you currently working for?
Okay, so right now, I just finished up some stuff for Mattel. So that's all that, I think. That's all. I'm not sure. It's very hard to say sometimes. You know, I'm currently juggling 3 other jobs. One is the one that I just told you, which is the figures that I've designed that are unique to they are my own unique designs.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I'm doing some statues for Pop Culture Shock, and some nice, beautiful women are coming your way from pop culture. Some characters that you'll definitely recognize, and that there are some comic book heroines that you will know of.
Even beautiful women that we still know as beautiful, or beautiful women that some certain fans say are looking like a man now.
Well, just beautiful women in general, man. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, doesn't it?
Right.
So yeah, so I've done my beautiful women. And there's one male character, and that's distinctively that has I won't say it. Yeah, that's fun. And I've also got a bunch of figures for Diamond Select I've got to do, and that is it, I believe. Yeah, that's it. Actually, I'm currently juggling 3 jobs at the moment. Right now, I'm juggling 3 jobs.
Okay, so Mezco currently on a pause a little bit.
Yeah, well, Mezco have gone. They use a guy called John Santagata now. He's the in-house guy, and they had a bit of a downsizing thing there about a year or so back, kind of thing. And one of the I mean, I'm not working with Mezco, but they've got an in-house guy now that's doing a lot of their kind of lot of their work now and things like that. I actually just spoke to him there last week and everything. So yeah, but so there's still a few more Mezcos coming out from me. There's still a few more designs that you haven't seen the light of day. They're just coming. I mean, Thanos now he was only out like last month.
Dude, the Thanos looks so good. Like stellar work, man. Really, it looks so good.
Oh, thank you, man. Again, I mean, that's a co-design now with a John Santagata. He's the guy now that works at Mezco now, I think, but obviously so.
Okay, but you designed it nevertheless. I saw your comparison of the figure and then the sketch. It came out pretty. It came out pretty even, right? There weren't too many big changes in there at the very end, right?
No. I mean, the thing is, I'm drawing in 2D. So what can be done what can look good in 2D may not necessarily look good in 3D. So some details may just change. Plus, as well, you're dealing with a sculptor, and they're artists unto themselves. So you just have to kind of let them kind of do their jam as well. Because at the end of the day, it's the sculptors are the ones that do the big lifting. They're the ones that actually make the product. You know, I am the preliminary stage to that. But at the end of the day, I would never sit back and say, "Oh, I'm just as important as a sculptor." No. It's the sculptor is the guy that is the guy that gives you that finishing product and stuff like that as well. But it is a pure joy to see your 2D lines become 3-dimensional. And something like Thanos has got lots of lines, lots of details, lots of shapes, blacks, and 3-dimensional extrusions and all these things, and his shoulder pads and stuff like that. There's slightly subtle changes. Like my shoulder pads were a little bit straighter. These ones here are slightly a little bit more curved, things like that. He's just over there.
Okay.
I'm looking over that way, sorry. Thanos is tons of fun to do, And there's a few more exciting ones that haven't been revealed yet, so stand by.
Nice. Very nice. But I feel like what you said, like this little, let's call, link between 2D and then also the 3D sculpting. I could actually see that when you are putting certain lines, certain details, certain colors in your sketch, and then it's getting transferred over to 3D, and they are trying to do this justice with maybe, I don't know, some shiny gold cloth just for, you know, just for from the get-go. And they could actually see, okay, your idea here that you did on the sketch, this whole line, like this kind of vents, it doesn't work with the kind of cloth that we have anything better. This is where certain compromises come in, right? Like for an example.
Yes, that's where the stuff comes in, and how much input me as a designer has on things like that can vary. You know, can vary from project to project. I'm working on one so diamond now. Sometimes I'm really heavily involved in what actually the thing can do, and sometimes no, we actually know we know exactly what we need here and stuff like that and things. And materials and all that stuff. But I'm still learning. You learn something new every day because, you know, you keep an eye on all these other companies like Four Horsemen and all these other companies, and you see what they're doing with soft goods and materials and how thin they can get a plastic that can hold a certain detail and things like that, you know. So it's like you know, some companies invest more in R&D to develop kind of more materials. It's like the Four Horsemen put out some figures, I think, recently, where the material that the garb, like the skirt or whatever it is on the arm or something, it's so thin, but it also can handle a lot of detail as well. And you're seeing that some with some also import figures from Japan and things like that as well, and from China. These guys who are making these figures have got these new soft materials on them, but they're not soft goods. It's plastic, but it's really thin plastic, but it's still durable enough to hold a heavy detail or a sculpt on it. And so it's like that's that learning curve as well, and trying to keep up with the actual upgrade of materials.
I'm just looking over to my Mortal Kombat collection, like what Storm Collectibles is using. Like they are using this rubbery kind of plastic for a lot of.
That is one solution. Like Storm are pretty good. Like that is one interesting solution there. Now what Storm are doing, they're kind of like putting a rubber body underneath a skeleton, and all they need to do for tooling is to change it up her body. You know what I mean? Right. They also made a Hulk Hogan, a 12-inch, 1/6 scale Hulk Hogan, and again, it was very interesting because they have a basic body, but the outer skin is a separate piece. So literally, they can put the shape of Hulk Hogan's anatomy correctly over a basic underskeleton that can. So it's things like that. But you know, I need to go to China and all those kinds of things. You know, most of the time we just get paid just to draw.
Yeah. That's most of the problem, but it's still amazing to see in what kind of a time we're actually living. We as persons in our age. I mean, now I'm pushing 40, and you are already, I don't know, are you in your mid-40s, if I may ask?
Mid-40s, yeah, mid.
Okay, cool. We keep it at that. But we are still in the very pleasant situation that we're we're having jobs. We are able to get these figures, and we still enjoy this as if we were little kids on Saturday morning cartoons watching those, you know. But we are also in the I don't know, let's call it in the state of mind to understand these figures and to see where it's coming from. We're seeing all these evolutionary steps in this, like back in the day, a Masters of the Universe figure. We're also getting to Masters of the Universe, guys. Sorry. This was, I don't know, what did we have? 5 or 6 points of articulation, rotatable head, rotatable waist, arms, legs. That was it, right?
We're happy.
And
the Incredible Hulk television, and he didn't do anything. It was just a dude in a pair of torn up shorts. We were happy. We were happy.
And now we're having this
Batman, a dude with no jaw who wore a muscle suit as Batman. We were happy. We've got too much now. People should be happy with what they have now.
That is exactly where I'm coming from, but this and where I want to get to actually. But now we're getting this. You know, I mean, this looks like the old Roboto. But we're having movable elbows and wrists and hands and all those things. These are amazing figures at a great price point, and we are sitting here like little kids because, oh my God, this is the way I wanted to play with Roboto like back in the day. And now we are having his big kind of spotlight in the new show actually, where he's re-welding the sword.
New show, he's brilliant.
Amazing. I love that. Like, I'm having goosebumps just thinking about it.
Everybody, you blast dude, sorry. Oh, you're gonna need that look at. I thought it was great. The characterizations and revelations we'll get on to that.
Yeah, we're getting to that. But I got a few more questions in, Eamon, very quick. Cantina says, what is your favorite brand?
Oh, well, besides Masters of the Universe?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
Masters is everything. It's everything to me. Like, it's everything I want. Masters of the Universe literally has the type of fantasy I love. It has the type of science fiction elements that I love. For me, it's everything. You know, I've said this about the TV show Primal as well. To be fair, that is everything as well. But Masters of the Universe to me it satisfies everything that I want from being. It's my happy place. It's got the moodiness because I love Lord of the Rings, I love Conan, I love Star Wars. I like these things. I love these things. I collect them. But Masters of the Universe is something that literally puts a spark up me. It really is something that really ignites me. It's the thing that made me want to become an artist in the first place, staring at the boxes when I was a kid. All those things. It is all the things. It's the Conan things that I like looking at. It's the Beastmaster movie I saw over there. It's the bit of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome that I saw. It's all those things that I kind of saw and liked growing up in one kind of nice, cool ball of awesome. You know, and so but other brands that I like, other things that I like. My second love is Silver Surfer. I love the Silver Surfer. He's my favorite other character. And
are you in on the Legends Galactus? Did you back that?
I am really wrestling with that one because yes, I want it. Absolutely want it. It is awesome. But I don't have any room. I have half a good portion of my Masters Classes collection is in storage. And that should not be. That they need to be out. And I would just feel wrong buying because I went in on the Razor Crest, the Mandalorian Razor Crest. I went in on that. Okay. Because I didn't go for the Sentinel, but I went in for the Mandalorian Razor Crest because I just thought that, well, that's something really cool. It has a stand, it's kind of classy, it's a bit decorative. Whereas Galactus is a big giant action figure. I have a lot of action figures and I do want it. I would love it, but it is just a case of. And I have issues with the price point as well. I do not think it is quite worth that level of money. I think maybe $199 would have been fine for it. I think maybe even $200, but $350, that is a high price point. And anybody who tells me that they wouldn't sell at retail, I don't buy that argument either because I see retailers, they've got empty shelves a lot of the time. They can put stuff in there. I think it's something like that would sell. So I slightly resent this. It slightly frightens me, this model, that we can't get nice toys in the toy shelves anymore, that we have to go in for a Kickstarter, and anybody who's not in the know. Like, how many people never knew about Masters of the Universe Classics? There are still people coming out, and everyone's losing their mind because they've got to pay $100, $200 for a Fisto figure now. But some people are just not in the know. Some people aren't plugged in the whole time. Some people actually have lives. And they go out, you know, they don't know about such things. And I can't help but feel that something like a Galactus or a Jabba sail barge would sell if they were on retail toy shelves.
I believe so. That's essentially sadly the evolution of things went, you know, like also with I believe retail won't really die. I don't even know if we will really see the end of retail at our lifetime, but I believe Corona has sped up that process.
I think it has, and I think it's augmented things a little bit for sure. But then you see that the Masters of the Universe Origins got into all the stores eventually. You know, the Revelations figures are getting out there, but then I know there was problems with the G.I. Joe classifieds, for instance. I know people were a little bit angry with that, but then all of a sudden they were loads of things stumped. Everyone was talking doom and gloom about the Rise of Evil Origins 2 set. Oh my God, I made so little of them. The next thing, boom, loads of them are on, and now they're all over the place.
Right.
I think, getting back to your original point earlier, I think sometimes ignorance is bliss. As a kid, we just walked into the store and I was like, oh, there's a new character.
Now,
and I think I think a little bit we're too plugged in. I think sometimes a little bit of ignorance is bliss, and we get what we get. You know, I kind of.
Sorry if I chime in really quick. This is actually what happened to me. I was in a toy store in Hanover over here. I believe it was around a month ago, and I didn't know that this existed. I know that Mega Bloks is doing Masters of the Universe, but I didn't know that this actually existed. And I was so smitten with that guy.
Oh, exactly.
And And I just grabbed it and I looked at it from the adult collector kind of point of view. And you know, I had as a loan, I had the Origins Battle Cat and also the Panther on a review. And one of the big critique points from me was that the paws weren't movable on those, right? And this little guy has ball joints on the paws. So what happened there? This is so weird. But I didn't bet an eye to it too much because this guy is just fun. And I got it on my new PC.
The Mega Blocks are absolutely hitting it on all fronts, man. They've got I want the Castle Grayskull too, but again, it's like, you know, something like that deserves to be displayed, and I don't have enough to display.
Yeah, that is the problem. Also the interesting differences in prices from across the pond and over here. Like a friend of mine from the realm of collectors got Castle Grayskull from Mega Blocks for $70.
Ooh.
We are still paying, I believe, $190 or something over here.
Like the 170, 190 margin, so it is.
This is insane, but it's so good, and I love the presentation with the boxes and the artwork, and I'm getting the Mondo MOTU, you know. I mean, it's not in scale any way, shape whatsoever, but I mean, it's just a nice. It would still be a nice thing. You work for Mondo too, right? Like you have.
I do, yes. On occasion, yes, I do design some stuff for Mondo, yes.
Okay. Also for the MOTU figures.
No.
Oh, bummer.
I mean, I'd never say never, but Mondo have me on other interesting stuff that I like. Emiliano Santalucia, my colleague, he's the one who's designed quite a few of the Mondo figures now, and he's very good at it. So, you know, I wouldn't want to kind of be creeping on that kind of territory. You know, it's for me, it's not other brands now, just for masters. For me, it's about making the best possible item, and
I know what you mean.
So like it's like packaging, for instance. You know, I can paint whatever I want, but to get these exactly the way they should be, I felt we needed to get Eddie Nunez to help out with getting these things to look on model, as what they would say, and that's what I suggested we do. So I did a few on my own, and then I was like, oh God, I can, you know, try as I might, I can get my He-Man looking pretty good and buff and stuff like that, but Eddie's the guy who actually designed the characters for the TV show. Could we get him to sketch over and correct some of my things and get things looking on anatomy? So nice. like for the He-Man and Skeletor and stuff like that, you know, I'll sketch the pose. You can go to my Instagram, I'll sketch it out. And then if you go to Eddie's Instagram, you'll see Eddie's sketch over my sketch. And you'll see that his is just more on model. You know, mine's fine. But Eddie's like a master at anatomy. You know, he's a master, this guy. I mean, anyone who works for a television show. And there's guys like me who will, you know, we'll do our toys, we do jobs on, but then to get on a TV show, you have to be on another level entirely. And Eddie's just one of those dudes. He's just on another level than me, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm confident with my art, but I'm also a little bit, there's areas I need to improve on as well. But I just, for stuff like, for the point I'm trying to make is, it's about making the best product. I want Masters Universe to succeed because I think Masters, you know, could be massive. I think it could be amazing. I think the whole entire planet could love it. I think it could be the next big Star Wars if it was handled right, because it's got everything like Star Wars.
Good point. Yeah.
So for me, it's like making the best product. So yeah, for some, not all of the Revelations, but for some of the Revelations in, I suggested we get Eddie in, and I believe he'll even be, and he's ended up doing even more some now. So there's going to be a few later on that I haven't actually worked on myself. So I haven't done Man at Arms, for instance. Yeah, so I haven't done Man at Arms. I've done I won't see who the others are, but there's a few. I've done all the deluxe ones and Tila. And Eddie then, along with, I believe, just a factory and another bunch of guys whom I don't know, they're in China and stuff, are kind of working away on some of the other ones and things like that as well. So you'll see, there might be, I haven't actually seen them yet, so there might be a slight style difference, but there shouldn't be, because I think the idea is we want it consistent, and having Eddie getting that thing's consistent. But back to the thing, if you want to see that, like Eddie, there's He-Man holding a sword like this. I've done my one. Then Eddie will draw over mine to get it just looking a little bit more on like the cartoon. And then I paint over all that. I'll paint over the whole thing, give it a background and all the rest of that stuff and things like that. So, you know, for me, it worked really well. As much as my ego would love to say, hey, you know, I did all the art on every single one of these and stuff like that. And, you know, while I did most of it, you know, I have to say, you know, getting Eddie in to do the ones that he did help me out on, it was just the right thing to do to get things looking just as they should. And it's worked out actually because people are lining up their Revelations boxes all alongside each other and they're loving all the art and stuff like that. So it's like, yes.
They look great.
My heart sank when the Revelations packaging first came out. I was like, oh, it's like a hot toy all over again. You know, when a hot toy came out and someone took a really crappy low-res JPEG of that, and we were like, it looks like shit. Oh my God, the face sculpt is off. Luke Skywalker, the best bin Luke Skywalker was that. And like, everyone canceled their pre-orders. I'm like, oh my God, do we learn?
Yeah, they went batshit on that. I remember.
Oh my God. And then like the day of release one, because I designed the Revelations packaging as well. I designed it all, but Roy Juarez is the art director, but it's essentially me and Roy Juarez doing everything. And we discussed what we should do, how we should do boxes, should we have character art, yada, yada. We discussed all this stuff. It was really amazing, actually, to be this heavily involved in a new Maximus line. It was a dream come true. And so I did Mossman on my own. And I'm like, I'm so happy because Mossman's actually one of my favorite ones as well now. And you know, it's
nice.
We kind of did Mossman, and then we started creeping in some of the others. And then as I was going along, at the Skeletor and He-Man, I was like, you know what? If I could get Eddie to correct some of these things or to get things looking 100% on model, it would be really good. And I think the artwork would pop even more. And that's what we did, you know.
Okay. But my question for this is, let's dive in on some Revelations a little bit. Like, as a first on that, what did you think about the show?
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I thought it was amazing. I have one massive criticism of it. One.
Okay.
But it's a big criticism. I felt this story here should have been the part 2. Or not the part 2, but the next season. Because they're on about maybe hopefully doing another season.
Okay.
What I would have liked to have seen more standard He-Man gang action for like at least half a season, and then do the big change. I think having a big change essentially happened in episode 2 was just a bit like, oh bloody hell, because you know how glorious is episode 1. It's amazing. Just you see all that stuff happening inside Castle Grayskull. Yes, can I have just 5 episodes of that, please? Just attacking Castle Grayskull. You know, like the Battle of Helm's Deep type of stuff with Castle Grayskull. Can I just have that for 5 episodes?
Right.
But that isn't what we got. What we did get was brilliant. I think I would have liked to have more time with the standard characters as we know, because you know you see Triclops flying around on a sky sled, and it's like, yes, more, please, more of that. But then he changes because he's kind of like techno god side Triclops now, but to get on with.
That was kind of weird a little bit. I don't know where they get that from, but I feel like the same. That wasn't my massive criticism, like the way that you have. My massive criticism to me was the music. It was very forgetful music to me. Aside from the bit where he actually morphs into He-Man with that
the clone ass stuff.
Yeah, that was okay, but that was pretty much the only thing. And I'm big on soundtracks. Like, I'm so big on soundtracks. I had Brad Fidelio on from Terminator, and I collected my own kind of complete score for Terminator 2 with a guy from YouTube called Python Blue. He had all the synthesizer files of the old one that Brad Fidelio used, and he did a lot of the music. So essentially now a complete score. So, and also, you know, Filmation He-Man, with what did that start? Ding. These are just the little bits that you remember this, and this is where your neck hair starts to stand up. And the show didn't have that, sadly. This is one of my major criticisms. But there weren't much. I enjoyed it front to back, and there were so many moments where I really had these neck hair standing up moments, like Orko or Scareglow, or what you said.
Oh my God, Scareglow! How good a character is that? And then he has this one line that is like, and what I like that because they play on the fact that the people always even last week some guy, so Scareglow Skeletor's ghosting. No, he's a ghost in the service of Skeletor. But we all made that mistake as a kid. And Tila actually says Skeletor, and Scareglow goes, not quite. And then we hear this kind of little hint about story. I was once a king of something. And it's like, so there's what I loved about Revelation, that every character felt like, oh, there's a story unto itself there, you know, and things
fleshed out, exactly.
Just the characterizations were through the roof. I mean, Roboto being that good, who knew? You know, who knew Roboto could be that good? Because we saw him in 2002, and he was very softly spoken there too. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, when people kind of jumped all over Kevin Smith for saying, oh, it's a continuation of Filmation, and then kind of slightly changing it. And it's like, yeah, Kevin isn't going to make the distinction like we mad nerd boys are. We're not going to make he's not going to make the distinction between the Alcala mini comics or the Mark Texeria DC comics and then Filmation. He's looking at an all-over encompassing story, and it's a continuation from the old story. And let's face it, when Orko is there sitting down there confessing to Evelyn about all the great adventures that we had, what are we thinking of? Yeah, we're thinking Filmation. We're thinking of all the adventures Orko went on in Filmation. That's what we're thinking of. And I just think holding a dude over the rails like, oh, come on.
Yeah, people went really batshit on this, and they were saying like Kevin Smith lied to us.
Yeah, well,
and I said to myself, and also to different people, also on a podcast like 2 weeks ago, where did he lie? He said it's a Filmation continuation, and it is. If you don't think it is, that is your cross to bear. If he says it's a continuation, and this is what he said he wanted to make, and this is where he essentially succeeded. Otherwise, he wouldn't have aired it. So he stood firm to his word, in my point of view. And at the end of the day, I'm also that kind of dude. I enjoyed it. I am almost 40 years old, and I'm a guy with I had problems with my life, and I think like a lot of the people that shit over such a show, even quite honestly, have no real problems in their life. Like they are bored. They are bored that they really dissect such a show to the very smallest bit and say, this is a liar, and this is all social justice warrior and woke, and Tila looks like a man, and all these different layers of stuff. Like, get your lives together. Like, really. Yeah, well,
when I said to certain people on a certain forum that were mourning about Tila, and then I likened them, she looks like a Viking. Here's some examples of Viking women. Look how badass they look. Oh, look, they've got their heads shaved at the sides too. Guess what? 2 of my female friends, they're not gay. They've got boyfriends. One of them's married. She shaved the side of her head. It's a modern style. Get with the program, kids. It's a modern style. Tila is buff, but, you know, they're all buffing the show. And I think she's a little bit more buff from frame to frame and things like that. But the bottom line here is that what you have, unfortunately, is a situation of people who want certain things. It's clickbait, and it
of course, yes.
If you make a negative, if you put a big negative disclaimer on your graphic on YouTube, and have one of those wide eyes or any of those kinds of thingies, or something sensational like a headline, think tabloid newspaper. Oh, the princess was found having an affair. Big text. Well, it's the same technique. It's the same technique that a lot of these YouTube channels. One should go back and look at the history of these YouTube channels, because a lot of these people have said a lot of things that haven't come to be. You know, Kathleen Kennedy, she's not fired yet from Disney, despite what some of those YouTube channels have said to you. Picard didn't get cancelled after 1 season, despite what some of these YouTube channels told you. Tila is not gay in the cartoon, despite what some of these YouTube channels have told you. She did not replace He-Man in the cartoon, despite what some of these YouTube channels have told you. And I think what you have there is it's a lot of forced hate. It's a lot of people being louder than others and just trying to get noticed. It's clickbait. I can't earn money. I'm not getting the hits by being nice and fun. So, hey, people are out to hate at the moment, so let's just go with that. Because Loki got it. Like, what? Loki got it too? And a whole bunch of other things got it as well. We know Star Wars got it and things, but for me, it's artificial. For me,
that's a good point, you know, because Kato just said, people hated Tila but loved Cara Dune. And that was also a buff woman, and no one better than I about that, right?
What I can say about that is Cara Dune was a brand new character that was... Yeah. She looked the way she looked. Gina Guerrero is the way she is. People love her. But I think what problem with Tila is what the fact that she didn't look like a supermodel. And, you know, as we all know, a supermodel could lift a sword, right?
Right.
No, it's not the 80s anymore. You won't have Tila as a supermodel. Oh, look at all the She-Ra girls in the new She-Ra cartoon. They don't look like supermodels. They look like real people, except anime.
But that's also the point. Exactly the point that you said. You know, get with the program. That is a certain style. Like back in the day, Tila was drawn very, very, I mean, warrior-esque, but with a certain touch of princess. With the tiara, you had that certain feminism to her. You know, that was the style back then. And now it's a little bit more buff with the side cut. But there's this promo picture, you know, of I believe Evelyn, Roboto, Tila, and I believe Andra. Andra, Evelyn, and Tila are all at the same buff level, but everybody's concentrating on Tila. I don't get that. Like, I don't really get that. 100% not.
Because it's forced. It's because it's forced. I mean, I'm not going to deny, admittingly, because I obviously saw Tila way before everything else, and I admittingly I saw, whoa, what are they doing here? So it's a bit like thinking, because the muscles didn't bother me, because
me neither. Me neither.
She should look like she can swing a sword, in fairness to her. And you can still be, unlike my partner Ali, she's muscle, she's not buff, but you know, she works out. I like muscles. Muscles are good. They're called masters of the universe. You can't have the dudes looking like massive beefcakes and the girls looking like supermodels. Again, it's not the 80s anymore.
No, but exactly.
I think maybe it was the trifecta of all the things. Maybe one or the other, or one or two of those things. But I think it's a trifecta that it's no He-Man, her hairdo, It's all these things that are maybe one of those things. Maybe needs to go to calm the haters down. But for the rest of us, it's you know, it's the story that they wanted to tell. It's a good story. It's really interesting. But the fact of the matter is, it's still very much a He-Man story. It's all about He-Man. Tila is crying, talking about He-Man. Where did he get in the lesbian angle from exactly? Why? Because she hangs out with this girl Andra. It's just it's manufactured. It's people riling up other people. It's people riling up. Oh, you should hate this. And what annoys me is, what really, really irks me is that people actually seem annoyed that others like it, and they are out to shit on your fun. And a dude who brings that to my table, nah. No, you don't do that. Let other people enjoy their things. You don't like it? Don't watch it, dude. Yeah. You know, it's like the outrage to She-Ra. Who knew there was so many straight male She-Ra fans, eh? I certainly didn't. I remember way back in the day, there was no She-Ra fans yet. All of a sudden, for that new She-Ra cartoon, bearing in mind, She-Ra was always woke. What you think Lucky was straight, do you? Really, in his little dungarees? Come on. Come on. Lucky was great, but She-Ra, original She-Ra was very progressive, very woke. What do you think all the morals were? Look who made it. Lou Scheimer. His daughter was gay. People don't think of these things, but they're now told what to think, and they just run wild with it. Now, this is not to say you can't layer criticism on the cartoon. You can. You can see you don't like the plotting. Maybe Tila's slightly irritating because she's this, that, and the other. I didn't like how she got angry. I thought that was maybe unjustified. Yeah, get into that. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing people out there just calling it garbage, having it's terrible, and it's like you cannot. You are an idiot if you think that such a well executed cartoon, regardless of story, of the colors, the level of animation, the actual amount of work gone into it. It is not garbage. It's not to your taste. You don't like it. But calling it garbage makes you look like calling something that's objectively well-made garbage. You know, I don't like Harry Potter. It's not for me. I just don't like Harry Potter at all. But I would never in a million years call it garbage. Why? Because it's very well-made and it makes a lot of people happy.
Exactly. This is a great point. This is all comes down to communication, right? You can also say, to me, I don't like it. To me, it's shit. I don't like it, but it's not in the general sense. Shit. If you like it, you win. You know, this is all that it comes down to. This is all that matters.
Everyone liking all the same thing gets, you know, that gets dull anyway, kind of thing. Again, we're of a generation where a dude painted in green was our Hulk, and we were happy with that. Yeah. And it's like, since when do we get, oh, it's not exactly the show. You know, when I first heard that they were making an more adult-orientated anime series for Masters of the Universe, I was like, oh, we're finally going to get our heavy metal He-Man. There's going to be like he's going to use his battle axe. That's what I was expecting. but we didn't get that. And as I started working, I was like, oh, now I see. Oh, now I see. And the work was so quality. I was like, the things like if you look back, you can see how Eddie Nunez draws He-Man. He drew him a bit more gnarly and a bit more gritty and stuff like that. But clearly that's not what the producers wanted. But the He-Man that we did get, he's brilliant. He's really handsome. He's warm. He's friendly. Because, you know, He-Man's not Conan. We have Conan over here. If we want Conan, we can go read Conan. He-Man is not Conan. He's brighter. He's Conan aimed at 5, 6-year-old boys. That's why He-Man looks the way he does. And we want that same appeal. And when I look at him stomping around in his armor and his shining armor and all, and his hair and something, I'm just like, that's my boy. Look at him. He's and he's warm and he's nice. And Adam is such a good dude. He's sacrificing his entire reward. This is your reward for all of your fighting, you know. And for him to sacrifice himself the way that he did, and things, I love how seriously these characters are treated. Cringer's dialogue is amazing, you know.
Cringer was one of the show stealers together with Evelyn and Orko to me, actually.
But then you have Hero, and Hero is like straight away you kind of get the because he's there like he's very jaunty and very jovial. He's like putting his words together, and I'm just like, wow! Look at our characters. Look how well they're treated. You know, Whiplash gets a moment, and all these blast attack. He's like turning himself off the whole time. Come on,
that was so good.
I love this.
Yeah, but still, you know, a lot of people were still, those are good, but I feel there are like way too many people. They just crammed it into the series, and like two words later or 2 sentences later, they say, "Oh yeah, but there were guys missing." What do you want? A crammed series, or even more people, or is it not enough? Or just make up your mind, right?
It's funny how people offer a certain level of understanding when it's something they like, but when it's something that they object to, or something in a lot of cases are told to object to, because that is the way. Some people have been goaded into thinking certain ways about this show, and I think just for a lot of people, I just think you need to kind of step back a little bit, and if it's not for you, then it's not for you. That's fine. You don't need to lay down a hate on it. But what I was trying to say is, I got sidetracked. What I was trying to say was, people are a lot more forgiving on things that they like.
Absolutely. This
is a new He-Man series. Mattel are taking a major punt here with this, if you know what I mean by the expression of punt. Punt in English terms. Don't get the word confused, guys. Punt, not the other word. It means taking a chance, making a risk, going for it. You know, you know, Mattel approached Kevin for a reason, you know. He's a dude who's well connected, and he can rope and talk in a lot of people to do a lot of quality work for good prices. Now, Kevin publicly admitted to being able to get Lena Headey and Mark Hamill and all these people for cost. As in,
I didn't, dude. Quite honestly, just real short. I didn't know Lena Headey was actually talking Evelyn, and I heard the voice. I was like, "Who? Wait a second. Who is that? You know that voice?" And there was a certain tone in her voice. I'm like, "Oh my God, Lena Headey as Evelyn. That is so good." You know, I loved her as Evelyn.
This stuff, it's not Star Wars. It's not like Disney, where literally we don't hear what the budgets for those Star Wars movies are. There's a reason why they're not telling us the budget, guys, because it's ridiculous, the budgets of these Star Wars movies. Ridiculous. I'm guessing, I think those Star Wars movies were maybe up to 300 million. And how much they cost to make. You look at something like a movie like John Carter, that costs, what, 200 million to make? You need to think of Star Wars and stuff like that. And it's like,
something like that.
Mattel don't have that kind of money. Everything with this Masters of the Universe Revelation, believe me, it's done for love of the thing, not necessarily for the money. Believe me. And I think a lot of people would do well to remember that, you know, this is Mattel taking a big gamble on a property that, while a lot of people aren't the people who think who worked back in the 80s. It's them saying, "Hey, we got this one property here that actually can compete, that has a fan base," you know, and it doesn't. There's a limit to how much they could have done, and I think what Mattel did end up doing is pretty damn impressive. We got a really good animation studio, like a good animation studio to do the animation. They got amazing voice talent, and they didn't just hire your standard, the same 5 dudes from all the other animes that you see. They ordered in top talent. And Kevin, openly said that he got all these people for cost, as in they did it for their bog standard rate. It wasn't an accelerated rate or anything like that. They did it because Lena's a fan of He-Man. She grew up on it. She was like, yeah, I'd love to do this. And everyone came in because they loved to do it. And when you see a product like He-Man and like the Revelation, have so much people that genuinely, trust me, this is put together with love. Whether you've got objections to certain things or not, it is put together with such love. And to see then the bile and the hatred that has just been riled up and kind of spun out of control, I'm like, humans fucking suck sometimes.
Yeah. It is. This is a great sentence. Sometimes they really do. There's a certain bubble we should surround ourselves with people that we like, that we love, and that is all good and fair. But as soon essentially as you step out the door, there's, like you said, the bile and the hatred. But Matt O'Toole said, I think most people have this opinion. There's just a bunch of very loud asshats online. I believe this is
most of the time it is.
Yeah, most of the time, I believe this is only partially true on Revelation, because I mean they really review bombed this, you know, like Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes to take.
Yeah, but did you look at the comparisons between them?
Yeah, exactly.
One was like 3%, really 3%, guys. Yeah, and did you actually read the reviews?
Yeah,
half these dudes couldn't spell, man. You know,
exactly. Exactly, half the dudes could spell, and I mean sometimes even to me, it's not even my mother tongue, and I'm seeing stuff like is or isn't, and how it's written online, and I'm not speaking the best English ever, but I know my way around English. But sometimes I'm just reading this, and I'm like, really, really?
Yeah, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of negative energy to be expending on it. But it's look, there are some things I don't like. But I'm not going to go out of my way to tell you how much I hate a thing. And that seems to be the way people are actually, all right, I'm going to get up and hate this thing now. Excuse me. And that is what's happening. And it's like, it's just not for me, mate. You could do that. And they're not doing that. But because people are saying, no, you need to dislike this because for reasons. Now, again, this is not to say that there isn't a little bit of wokiness in there, and there isn't one or two things that maybe some people, you know, get slightly annoyed about over. But I say slightly annoyed, and I say a touch wokey. Yeah. But calm the passion, guys. I mean, what is going on there? Ease up, because it was overall really entertaining. If it was less entertaining, I'd say fine, but it was so well done. It was so well executed and things like that. And I unfortunately, the problem here is that I do think anyone who has legitimate criticism of the plot points and some things like that, I didn't understand why that happened and why the sword is split now, why do the things go here? All those kinds, they're all very fair criticisms to make. That's all go in there and let's discuss that. Because if you discuss that properly, that means the producers are going to take this stuff into consideration for the season 2, because we're hopefully going to get a season 2. Not a part 2, another whole new season. And they will listen to all these things, the good criticisms, and take it on board like a lot of things do. But look what happened to The Rise of Skywalker. That was a movie that was very reactionary. And
but that is actually a good point. You know, like I was never the big Star Wars buff. You know, I don't have a single Star Wars figure in my collection. But I'm watching this, and I enjoyed it. I also watched The Mandalorian. I'm currently watching The Bad Batch, and I watched The Rise of Skywalker, and I had no big problems with it. Also, not The Last Jedi. I had no problems with those. Like, I watched it. I leaned back, and I just enjoyed it because I wanted to enjoy it. I was sitting there, and I was thinking to myself, I saw all the last of the movies, and I wanted to see this too. And I watched it, and it was okay. But a lot of the people, exactly like I said, okay, now I'm going to dislike it, I'm going to dissect it, get up and get on their drawing board and start all these weird dark brown kind of schematics. This is all here and over there. When you go back to here, you see this wokeness there and all that kind of bullshit. And this is, again, what I mean with if people are just plain bored and they need to do this because they may not have anything else worthwhile maybe in their life, essentially.
That is definitely the case, I think, in a lot of cases. But I while we say that, we have to be careful to not actually alienate the people who have legitimate issues with her.
Of course.
I'm different to you. I really don't like The Rise of Skywalker, but I was one of those people that like Last Jedi. And I was hoping that we'd get more of what we saw in Last Jedi, because for me, that was just more interesting. The thing is, I get the arguments that turning the glory hero of the X-Wing fighter pilot into a crotchety, old, grumpy old man, I get that too, yes. I understand that level of annoyance.
Me too.
I understand that. I don't get the level of I hate and then making a YouTube video about it. That's on a whole other level of crazy altogether. But I understand the person says to me, oh, I didn't like those movies because I didn't like what they did to Luke Skywalker. He was my hero growing up, and now he's this. And I get that. I understand. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with this, because for me, I'm like, hey, these are storytellers. I'm not. I'm going to consume whatever they give me, and it's up to me whether I like it or not. Again, I'll say that again. These people are storytellers. I'm not. I will consume what they deliver me, and it's up to me whether I like it or not. I think a lot of people can do well to remember that rhetoric quite well there. But yeah, I'm one of those people that didn't like Rise of Skywalker at all, because I was just like, oh my God. It just, you knew straight away this movie was really pushing it when it didn't even open up with a kind of a slow flight over a planet. It just went straight into some crazy stuff. So, there you go.
Yeah, I know. I don't
enjoy watching them. I do enjoy watching them, but I do enjoy them because I like the artistry and the stuff and things that there's very few things that I don't like, and there's very few things I actively hate. Like there's only a few things that I hate in life. Kim Kardashian, I hate her. That's about it.
But that's the thing. I don't even know too much about her. So I'm like
indifferent. Exactly. I don't know enough to. Why would you want to be so interested in something that you're not interested in?
Right. If you don't like it, then good. Like we're having a fun part on the podcast today. You know, there's stuff we're actually doing. And I was asked about my 5 favorite and 5 worst in pop culture, and I had no problems with lining down my 5 faves for movies, food, whatever. But then the 5 worst, I was like, I can't do 5 worst. I don't surround myself with worst. What I don't like, I just don't like, or I'm indifferent to, and then I just let it go.
Yeah, it's like the Harry Potter analogy you said earlier.
Yeah,
I can see that something is very well made. I can see that something makes a lot of people happy. It's not for me, but hey, I see kids lining up at a bookstore with their wands and hats, and I'm like, you go. That's brilliant. Yeah. Whatever makes you happy. I want people to be happy. You know, exactly. That's all. Is people are riding on their scooters now, and they're happy. Yeah. There's some people out there who don't like it, and they're haters. Oh, it should be safe for bike lines. Well, people are happy. Go away. People need to stop cramping people's happiness and joy. Happiness is harder to find increasingly in these days, and you know, having a whole new He-Man line, 2 actually new He-Man lines in the middle of a pandemic. How much joy has He-Man brought us during a miserable shit of a pandemic? I mean, come on. And then we get a cartoon at the end of our pandemic, or coming up to the end of our pandemic. It was like, lay on the love. And then to kind of get the hate angle, then it was like, oh, for God's sake.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Also Transformers. We're having some great new Transformers toys. You know, with
I don't like Transformers. I'll tell you this now. I don't like Transformers, but this new TV show, man, this new TV show, I love it. It's great. Why? Because the story is interesting.
I got that here all the time.
And I can see that Transformers, and would I be right? Again, I'm not a Transformers fan. They are bricks that hit each other. That's all they are to me. and there's a little bit of the cartoons because they're so blocky. But I'm now seeing this is what the fans surely are loving, because they don't look like Gundams. They don't look like the Neo Genesis. They don't look like Jaegers. They're Transformers. They have a blocky look to them. This is their language of style and how they look. And I'm loving the doubling down on the blocky aspect of the Transformers, and then seeing them and hearing the motors roaring, and just having the characters that there's an interesting story going on. Like I'm on the 3rd season now, where they've literally just met the Primal guys.
Kingdom,
I'm loving that. Again, I'm not a Transformers fan, but I love that.
Me too. I love that too. That's great that you said that. Like, to me, Kingdom actually saved the whole trilogy, the whole War for Cybertron trilogy. To me, like, the first part was okay in the sense of, okay, you got the updated G1 War for Cybertron, that is okay. The second part was just a little bit of heightened product placement. We had Galvatron in there, that was just product placement. We had Unicron in there from the HasLab stuff. and then some weird stuff with different characters that you've never seen afterwards. And now they changed the whole story essentially up for Kingdom and included these primal, these Beast Wars characters. And it worked so well. It worked extremely well, and it worked so well that it risen the whole. To me, it risen the whole rating for the whole show for me, because it was really a saving grace for it.
Is that what the fans have always wanted from a Transformers? Do you know? I mean, because I don't know, I'm not, but because I look at those the way the characters look in the show, and I'm like, Jesus, they look like the old box art. I'm like, the fans must be going gaga over that, right? Are they?
They are definitely better with it. A whole bunch of people, myself included, say maybe it's time for something completely new, complete, like nothing like before, like a full new age. Like, call the factions different, call the character different, maybe do the whole transformation process differently. Not all gears and transformation cogs and stuff grabbing each other and turning in this way and whatever, doing something completely different. Then there are people that say, oh, it's an upgraded G1. This is something I always wanted, and it's CGI. It works even in the physical sense. So a lot of people are happy with this. And so was I also in a certain way. I like that. I'm not collecting mainline too much, but I liked the show a lot. And then there are certain people that didn't like it too much. So you have essentially from every bit of the of the seasoning board, you have a little bit.
Was there any complaints about having 2 female robots in there? Well, there probably was. There's a few females in there. Well, actually, it was.
Yeah, there were female bots in there, but this is also the interesting part. No one actually went batshit crazy over the spider bot, Black Arachnia, being lesbian, and she 100% was.
That's because she's got those.
No, because she actually was kind of romancing towards the bird one that was actually saving her in the very end.
I literally just watched the first episode of The Kingdom. So there you go.
Okay, sorry about that. It's not too big of a spoiler. It was just 2 seconds.
I'm not surprised. I'm like, okay, cool, because fans like her because she got the cans.
Right. But it's a cool character. It's very well written, and I liked it. I very much liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. But a lot of people are actually kind of, living backwards. I don't know, maybe is the wrong wording for it. Like, I enjoy the old movie, the 1986 one. I enjoy that big time, and I rewatch that pretty regularly. But a lot of people enjoy the new stuff too, and also there are also a lot of people actually loving the Bayverse stuff and still wanting to have a sequel after the last night.
There's something there. Transformers, Hasbro have done a really good job of constantly. Power Rangers and Transformers, man, they're constantly being recycled, and Mattel needed to stay on that case with He-Man and not having these 10-year gaps every so often. You know what I mean? It's like you need to keep a property like this in the zeitgeist. You need to keep it out there. But there's a lot of love for Masters Universe out there now, and seeing He-Man in the pop culture zeitgeist so much these days. Hearing Jimmy Kimmel talking about Skeletor and having Mark Hamill on there and things. That to me is just pure joy, pure joy.
It sure is. But dude, we said about an hour, so I don't want to block you too long. So since we had such an amazing, lively conversation, thank you for that as a first.
Do you want to maybe take a couple of questions though first, in case people freak out that we have been talking about too much Transformers?
I don't know. There were a few questions, but I believe there were answered a lot of things. Like, there's also okay, from one from the live chat was, can you describe the process and brand requirements of making the packaging artwork for Revelations? Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
Can you describe the process and brand requirements of making the packaging and artwork for Revelation and or other brands?
Right. Okay. Well. Though, like, I guess with branding, he means like the Masterverse. Well, I believe, again, as an artist, Mattel only tell you what you need to know. So for when it came to like this stuff, which is an overarching thing called Masterverse, I believe the idea with Masterverse and indeed the format of packaging, because we wanted to choose a format of packaging that was different from. Oh, there we go. That's it. Is it? There's a big graphic coming up.
This is very much a little graphic. You can talk over it. There's no audio for it.
Oh, I thought it was like closing down. I mean, stuff like that.
No.
No, it was just a case of we wanted to put out a packaging that would really you know, fit firmly right in with your Marvel Legends, your Star Wars, a Black Series, and whatever else. You know, we wanted something that was a nice, standard, easy stackable form of wood, but with a little bit of edge and things like that. Mattel had the format of the packaging already laid out, as in this is the box shape we kind of want. And then
also with a Photoshop file with some framings in there, or
let me get the box. No, what they would do, they would send you a template. They would send you like what they would call a PDF template, like of all the box kind of. So like they take all these sides and they would just fold them all out, and that's basically so what I would get a template here. Eamon, this is the kind of box format we want. Please come up with a design that suits this. We have a few ideas. We're thinking about something with stone. Okay, fine. So we went and did a whole bunch of different stones and things like that. And as we went from very loud things to very kind of subtle things. And the idea was we wanted to figure to kind of really stand out, but also make the most of this side graphic situation here and make the artwork really things. So that's why we went for this package. We wanted something clean and classy and just something that was just cool kind of thing. So my God, when that first JPEG came out and people were slamming it, my heart sank. And I was like, oh, it's and like it really was. But now people have them. They can see why they're designed a certain way, you know, and they're collector friendly as well. So you can take the figures in and out of them and things like that. But yeah, I believe all future Master Race figures, I think they're going to do something with Origins and Revelation and all this. And I think they're going to start doing a lot of takes on the characters under this Masterverse banner. That's what I
wanted to ask you. Sorry, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you know if there's a bigger picture with this Masterverse stuff?
I can't tell you.
Right.
I can't tell you. But there are plans. There are plans in works about Masterverse. So
now this is something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to ask a question with someone that actually worked on this, and then the answer is I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I love that.
Because it's such a competitive industry and things like that, I guess, you know, that these companies, again, they literally only tell me, like, I'm seeing like some of the model sheets, some of the characters I didn't do the art for only just now. I'm given the bare minimum of what I need for the character. Here's your character. So I gotta say for Scareglow, so I had to do Scareglow all the way up. And we had to come up with like a whole bunch of ideas for Scareglow. And like I had no access to the animation. All I had was a style guide, a great test shot of the figure, and a brief description of what happens in the scene. And so we literally built the whole Scareglow around that scene. Hold on, let me get it.
You got the exclusive, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love how this looks. Ah.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, these Mattel were so kind to send me the exclusive, and it's like this.
Oh,
this right here, I could tell you, me and Roy worked our asses off on this. We worked so hard to get this done, and it's glorious, dude. I mean, literally, we get like to render all these things. I came up with all designs, just like cool designs, come up with something cool, and we're like, let's go, and like we just let's go really metal with it. And I just came up with all these designs, and I did a couple of sketches and all these things, and it's glorious. You know?
Oh, I want this thing so much, but I have no idea how to get it.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus, it looks so good. Like the whole cave.
I know, trying to get all this artwork lined up just to do one artwork here, one artwork on the back, one artwork here. You have to flip this over, another piece of artwork there, and they all have to flip each other on the back. And even inside here, you can take. So what's great about this? You just take out the figure tray.
Oh,
you got this lovely kind of window box there as well, a grand display for your figure to go on. And look, I even got like some gems up here, and you know, all along here and things that just kind of
beautiful.
That's the lights on the house. So the lights kind of come out. Like
it lights up.
Yeah, it's got a little strobe light in there. So when you put the figure in,
I didn't know that. Wow.
We worked so hard. Again, it was a bastard getting all this artwork because I had to do all these different illustrations. Had to match the cut from front and back. So it was just great fun. So yeah, it's just a nice little window box there.
It's a beautiful box that may actually be the best box I've ever seen.
Well, I've been discussing it with. I mean, I loved the one from 2 years ago, the Origins, the very first Origins kind of book set that we got. It was like the book set. With the He-Man harness on the front and stuff like that. I loved that. To me, this is up there with that. But what I love about this is this is just cool, and it's heavy metal, and it just it's just cool.
The thing I like about this the most is essentially it is the cave, right? We have Scarecrow's cave.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
At the same time, it has this kind of the Book of Scareglow vibe.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were going for. I mean, we were going to go for a tomb. I was like, a toy with some stonework, making it a tomb. But it's like, we don't know what the character is. I got one packaging screenshot, and I decided to use these ruins here and things like that as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I can, heaven forbid, touch wood, if I get hit by lightning in the morning, I can die easily now that I've done this. But I know this is amazingly cool. But I'll tell you, doing this little thing. To me,
yeah, the SCCC box, right?
Yes, doing this little thing to me was an absolute joygasm. It was so nice because they asked me, "Heyman, can you try to paint it like the old box art?" And I did, and I'd never really kind of tried to mimic the old box art before, kind of thing, and I think I succeeded. But I saw
the pictures on your Facebook. You did an amazing job. I love how this looks. I really do.
Inside here, there's a whole landscape in the rocks. There's all painted rocks down the bottom and everything that you can see. There's all little thing in there. And this is the first job I did after Scott Knightley left. I was kind of like left in limbo. It's very hard to kind of reconnect with whoever takes over, kind of a thing. And I try to get through. But this is the first kind of job with Mattel I got when I kind of reconnected with the people who were taking over the brand. And the Hot Wheels guys got in touch with me. I'm just so proud of that. I know it's little, and I know this is far more like lavish and exciting and things like that. But
no, but this is the thing you hold close to your heart, because you reconnected with them and you were able to do this super retro style.
Yeah, I'm just loving that. I just love it. Yeah, it's super retro style. I had a couple of friends.
Super good.
I had my friend Josh take a picture of the land shark for me and Wind Raider for me. Like, Josh, I don't have a land shark handy. Can you send me a picture? So it's great when you can reach out to fans like that and say, look, I can't tell you what it's for, but can you take a picture of a land shark for me?
But I mean, I feel you 100%, because to me also, I like what they did with the new logo for Revelation. But quite honestly, there's only one Masters of Universe logo.
It's hard to beat I believe it was an illustrator called Don Simpson who actually did it. Here's an interesting factoid that I found out because I worked in a design agency in London. And in some design agencies, they have got what they call a directory of illustration and designers. And I discovered that the guy who illustrated that logo, Maximus logo, is also the same guy who illustrated some, not all, of the Transformers boxes.
Ah!
There you go. I found that. I believe it's a guy. The thing is, it's a guy called Don Simpson, or it's something Simpson. But there's a lot of Simpsons out there, so it was very hard to track that. So there you go.
But that's interesting. That's also a little bit like the engineering kind of what do we call it? Not branch. You know what I mean, probably. It's all kind of close encountered. Like you meet everybody everywhere. Like you said, now there's the artwork for Masters, and the same dude also did some of Transformers. Like, it's sometimes always in the splices.
Yeah, I mean, like Errol McCarthy, the guy who did the card backs for Masters of the Universe. You know the turtle blimp? You know the big chrome engine that's painted on the side of the turtle blimp? Well, Errol McCarthy painted all that stuff, or drew all that stuff.
Okay.
And Mark Taylor, who designed the Masters of the Universe figures, he designed the original Ninja Turtle figures. So yeah, it's all in there,
Interconnected. It sure is.
So many people that worked in Filmation went on to work for DreamWorks. You know what I mean? J. Michael Straczynski, of course, he was the original writer for Masters. He went off and had a great career and stuff. So yeah,
that is true. You read him pretty much everywhere. You read his name pretty much everywhere. Sure. But dude, I would say as a final question, because it's sure getting late. It's a final question I always like to ask my guests, because it is very important, and essentially you may have answered that already, but just to really kind of dumb it down. I always like to put this with the header community bullshit. if you could have the power to tell the community a certain message that you would like people to abide by, what would it be that you would tell these people? Like think Revelation, all the bile and hatred that you would say. What would you say to those people that they would have to abide by to keep the peace, so to speak?
My general advice for all humans is don't be a dick. It's very simple. Just don't be a dick. If you feel you're saying something nasty, type it out on a separate page, read it out to yourself, and imagine how would you feel if you upon reading that, and do it that way. But no, my advice to everyone would be to chill out. These things actually don't matter that much. I understand that you whatever your personal position may be, how important a thing can be to you, that, you know, Masters can be, or Star Wars, or whatever that item that you're into, it can mean so important to you, because you could have an illness, you could be this, you could be that, and the other, and it means so much to you in that sense, because everything else is shit. I kind of understand that. Yeah. But I'm not seeing that kind of honesty out there. I am seeing bile. And I've got no time for people who want to be unnecessarily hateful. You can dislike a thing, reason to like it, you don't have to like it, but to actively chase something down and to put energy and effort into laying down hate, putting energy and effort to do something negative is never going to give you anything. It might give you some level of small little endorphin rush because a whole bunch of people have given you a click, but that's going to fleet and fade. You're going to look back at some of the shit that you've said about in 20 years' time and say, probably shouldn't have said that, you know, because once it's on the internet, it's there for now. And again, as I said before, these kinds of people have said, oh, that guy from Brokeback Mountain's going to make a shit Joker. He's going to be rubbish. Batfleck, he's going to be crap. Neither of those things, people were crap. That's the best Joker ever, and we love Batfleck. You know, do you know what I mean? It's like, when have you gotten it right? They've rarely gotten it right. This level of hate, it's like, dislike a thing, but your energy to expend energy to do a negative thing is just, I don't know, it's like running out the door and kicking a puppy. You know, it's, why would...
Good call.
There's no need. There's already plenty of nastiness in this fucking world. And if people are out there laying down a hate instead of a congratulate, you know, you need to check yourself, to be honest. You just need to understand where your priorities are. But we have to be aware. There are people who are in the business of peddling hate. And that is made aware. And a lot of people who regurgitate the hate are the ones, you know, that like being like culled like cattle into a little hate pin. And what's going to happen then is you're going to get nothing, because what happens is you have, let's get down to politics very briefly. You have left and right. The problem is there's dickheads on both sides, but one side is infinitely louder than the other. And that's kind of the problem. One side is infinitely louder than the other, and one side has the ability to go into the trenches and get nastier much quicker than the other. The other side then doesn't choose its battles very well. It needs to know, don't attack that. Somebody was attacking like the surfing that the Olympics, something to do with the Olympics in Hawaii, and it was a spiritual thing, and that wasn't respected. What are you doing left? Don't chase down that. That's, pick your fights. And that's kind of the problem, you see. I think people who are on one side don't choose their battles correctly. And I think the people on the other side are just being loud and obnoxious because they can get away with it. And I think hopefully it'll fizzle away. You know, I remember back in the day, geeks were the quiet guys in the corner. I was that quiet kid in the corner that snuck a comic book into class and used to read it between, you know, in my class line and draw my He-Man characters and stuff like that in the middle of the class. I was that quiet guy. I was like, oh, you like that shit too? Did you like that He-Man movie? Yeah, that was good. Now it's like, well, here's our political opinion on this now. And I'm like, when did that happen? When did it go over ground like this? Is everyone watching Big Bang and like, oh, those guys aren't really nice people at the end, and they're like, oh, we can be like this now. And that's my polite version. I have a very nastier version of all that if you want to hear it privately sometime. There's a lot of
this is an adult channel. You could have bring out the.
No, but I have to be professional as well. You see, I've got to be professional. I work for these other companies, so I can't call people certain names as much as I would like.
But that's a good call. This is the last question now. How did you actually start out? Did you always wanted to do this, or did you? I mean, there's sometimes, like in the case of Cato in our live chat, he had a certain point where he was in a very bad place, and that's where he started his YouTube. And sometimes stuff like this starts out as sometimes also as a therapy. You
Absolutely.
know,
I get that, and that's totally cool. Again, we do need to make that distinction from people who are peddling haze and people who love this shit so much it really wounds them when it's not what they want. We do need to make that distinction. But the problem is the loudest ones are the hate peddlers. That's the problem. Anyone with legit stuff is getting drowned out. But how did my career start?
Yeah, how did you start? Was it actually that you were drawing as a kid and you went from there?
Yeah,
or
I was drawing as a kid. If you look back at all my old school books and things like that, you couldn't say, you know, back in those days, you had to make sure you had to put a cover on your school book or on your history book, so maybe to rewrap them or laminate them to protect them so you could sell them on. You couldn't sell all my books because it was just pictures of barbarian women and dudes and everything all over. So I was doing it from a very young age. Again, the very first thing I saw art-wise that blew my little brain off was Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell.
Oh, that was one of the first covers I also saw. Amazing.
I saw that at like the age of like 6 or 7. It was on the top shelf because it was Dead Ringer for Love, and that had side boob on it, so you weren't allowed side boob. But the other thingy, the actual album was Bat Out of Hell, and I remember seeing that, and there was something just, that's my jam. I like that, whatever that is. And because it was Cowboys and Indians and, you know, A-Team up to that point. And then I saw that, and then VHS was coming out, or Betamax, as the case may be, was coming out. And the very first movie I saw on Betamax was The Beastmaster. And you can see where this, like, the blonde-haired with a big shiny muscles is kind of coming into it now. And then I literally got my first He-Man figure, and that had art on it. And I'm like, I just started wanting to draw that, and I've just never wanted to be anything else. I did want to be an archaeologist for my Indiana Jones phase. But
me too. During my Jurassic Park days. So. And
the parapsychologist and psychologist as well. So there was that. We all stuck with the art.
But you were very happy. I was drawing too. I still have an old folder with this. I drawn a lot. I was able back in my day. I still can do that, but my interests have shifted. But a few years ago, I just took myself an IDW Transformers book. I grabbed a page of Galvatron and I started drawing that. It's not. I didn't trace it, but I was actually copying it. I was able to put the books inside.
I copied stuff as well. I used to copy the Action Force or G.I. Joe covers.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have the talent to actually go from there. I never did. When I tried to do something on my own, it looked like a 5-year-old, and it still does. It's
not talent, it's time. I simply chose to put more time into doing it. Anybody can draw. I'm telling you, anybody can draw. It is simply about time. It's like learning how to play the guitar, man. If to learn to play guitar, you have to put in the time. I know. I've tried to play the guitar. I can do 4 chords. That's it. I can do a very bad version of Hey Joe if you want to hear it. And
we can do that on part 2 if you like.
It's very, very, very hard to get good at something. And it's just, some of us just are crazy enough to try and just stick with the one thing. And it involves a little bit of craziness on your part and a little bit of devotion and things like that. And also being honest with yourself. You know, my anatomy needs work. And I have to constantly work hard to try to improve my sense of color has gotten so much better, but I know my sense of anatomy, and you've got to be a bit grounded in yourself as well, and always ask questions to your peers. Like, I ask all my artist friends like loads of questions all the time, and I know they probably get annoyed with me and things like that, but that's what I do. And to get good at anything, you just kind of got to be a little bit bold, but polite and courteous. Never be obnoxious. Never think you're too good for the job. Never think you're too good for the job. Also, one big tip: we're not fine artists. We are illustrators. We are the whores of Babylon for the art world. We paint whatever we are told to paint, and that is that. And if you don't like that, then you've got no business being in this industry. If you don't like what another person's vision is, and you're executing someone else's vision, then this being an artist, not if you go be a fine artist, go something else. I'm perfectly content with doing someone else's vision. I like doing it because eventually my thinking is I'll keep on doing this for another few years and years and years and years to come. And eventually I can just start doing my own stuff, and I'll be good enough because I've done all this other stuff to do really good my own stuff. So, and which is back to the start of our podcast, these figures that I'm currently doing with this company, I literally cannot wait. They are literally the most exciting thing I've ever done. And I know it's maybe not exciting as a master's job or anything like that, which few things are more exciting than a master's job, but having something that's entirely your own, entirely your own.
No, quite honestly, dude, like I enjoy seeing your stuff and also your updates on Facebook. Like, I'm wishing you all the best with that, with your own stuff, and also with the Gatekeeper, that this is going forward. Like what I've seen now, I now heard you in person the first time. You are a super pleasant dude, and I wish you nothing but the best for all your projects. No, but really, I really mean that, dude. Thank you very much for coming on. I had an absolute blast. Oh, there's a question from Cantina. Do we do one more question? One final?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Cantina asks, Eamon, how could somebody become an artist or figure designer?
How can someone become an artist or figure designer? Well, as Cantina made to start. It's very simple, Cantina. Produce good work. Do good work, and you will get noticed. If you want the job, do the job. Show them you've done the job. They're not going to take, companies don't take speculative stuff. They're not going to pay you for what you've done. Just know that to do the work, you got to do work for free, but it's do the work that you want. I wanted to do a He-Man artwork, so I did He-Man artwork. I wanted to work for Mattel. I did a great big painting of the sorceress to impress Mattel, and it worked. Do the good work, and there's no trick to it. But do the work, but be humble and be professional. That's how you do it.
That's a good call.
Not that I'm very humble.
I believe you were. I believe you were. I mean, even the point that you said you want what's best for the franchise, and so you said, I can do anatomy as good as this guy, so I'm going to give it essentially to him. This is a great point of being humble. You know, you want what's best for masters. What you said, you think it could be way bigger, and for that, his anatomy is better than mine. So please go ahead, and I'm going to take my step back. You know, this is essentially how you do it.
Exactly. I'll make it awesome. I genuinely, you know, he drew the cartoon, and he drew all everything. So it just, I hate inconsistency. You know, it's for me, Revelation everything needed to be consistent within the brand. We had a cartoon that looked a certain way. We had figures that looked a certain way. That has to be all what we call homogenized. And for me, that was vital. And yeah, I did do some of them entirely on my own, but I was just getting Eddie in to kind of go over some of my drawings, because his muscles they're just bigger. I would have never thought to make a deltoid that big, and his deltoids are massive. I can go bigger. I'll make it bigger. And again, go to my Instagram. You can see it all. I'll post all the sketches of my stuff on my Instagram, but then you can go to Eddie's, and you can see Eddie's kind of overdraw, and he literally does draw over my things, so things like that. So it's a really cool thing to be able to do and things like that. Although again, not all Moss Man and a few others.
But nevertheless, Eamon, I had a great time. Thank you so much for being on. There was amazing stories. I was kind of speechless, kind of like there was. I'm really happy we were able to do this. Thanks for all the stories. That was amazing. Maybe we can do this in a few years when you had a few of your old projects picked up.
Well, I think you'd see these new figures I'm working on in about a couple of years' time. Hopefully the first one will be out this time next year. But if you see these other figures I'm working on, I think you'd be like, yeah, we gotta get on talk about that.
See, then we're gonna repeat that. Thank you very much for coming on. I had a fucking blast. I cannot put it any way different. And make sure you follow and check out Eamon's work on all the links down below. It's on Facebook, it's Instagram, Behance, it's everywhere. And if you enjoyed this and want to see more, and maybe also have a few, I don't know, recommendations of people that you know are maybe easy to contact and you would like me to talk to, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and also the little notification bell. And otherwise, I can only tell you, have a great Sunday evening. It's almost Monday again, where we're going to make the best of it. And yeah, break the new week good. And I would say for that one real quick, I'm going to make him like so. Now, by the power of Grayskull, and I would say we are out. Thank you very much, Eamon. All the best. All the best to the live chat.
Power in the eye! Sort of power in the eye!
Take care, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys very soon.
Thanks.